Welcome to another edition of Walnut Grove Cultural Conversations. We're two local pastors, one, two, however you want to count us, in what order, your choice. In the comments, let us know how you count us.
Well, that won't be depressing at all.
Yeah, it is a fun experiment.
What's 0 plus 0? I'm like, oh, bird.
Yes.
Beat you to it.
So, we know that the comment fields of many places on the internet are the most blessed places on the planet.
Well, we know our comment section is just so full.
Yes,
it's hard to get to all of your responses.
Yeah. So we'll tally them up.
Yeah.
Really know.
Yeah.
So we came here today and we were talking about some different things. Like there's a lot of sports stadiums and things like that announcing that they're returning back to some normalcy. That like the Buffalo Bills or the Texas Rangers are opening up their respective field or stadium up to full capacity again. And we're sitting here going, oh, there's some promise here of returning to normalcy. But we want to have a conversation about some of the things that we've seen kind of in the midst of the pressure cooker called 2021 kind of bare its teeth. Yeah. So
I think we need a refresher on what normal is, frankly.
Yeah.
Right? And since it's just the three of us watching this, doing this thing, let's be honest, man. Some people have this understanding that if things aren't back to normal, they're normal, then the church is on lockdown.
Yeah.
Right? It's not happening. And the refresher comes when we realize that where the vast majority of people live, in what they call the 1040 window, right? The two latitudes that capture... Yes. Again, the largest population. Normal is lockdown church.
Yeah.
Persecution. Being attacked. In fact, one story comes to us from India. A pastor who preaches to a congregation of 40 at Savior's Church. He left Sunday night prayer meeting, gets on a bus, and he's being followed by 4 men who are part of an anti-conversion group. And they take him a mile from his house off the bus, and they begin to beat him for 15 minutes trying to get him to give up. And they start trying to record him, right? Give up Christ, give up Christ. And every time he replies back, I'm going only to serve the Lord. I'm going to only serve the Lord. I'm going to never worship idols. I'm going to serve Jesus. And I'm thinking, that's so abnormal for us, right? You could say, man, this whole church should just lock down, right? It's not safe. And yet the first thing he does is he says, I'm not going to press charges. I'm not going to go to the police. I'm not going to go complain on social media. I'm going to go first pray for them, and then I'm going to double down in my efforts.
Yeah. See, like in the midst of what looked like, people were telling him that the church should be shut down and that they should stop, that he should shut up. He went, that doesn't infringe on my possibility to worship. That doesn't infringe on my possibility to tell people about Christ, to proclaim the gospel, to be a disciple of Christ. I don't know how many times there's been such minuscule things in the past year that have caused people to say, I'm not going to be part of the congregation. Right? Like a little piece of fabric.
Right, and this is where I go off. If a piece of fabric that's this thick gets in the way of you worshiping Jesus as Jesus calls you to worship and as the Bible calls you to worship, then the problem is not the government. The problem is your faith is so minuscule and immature.
Yeah, because here's the deal, right? We need to reestablish the theology or our understanding of why we meet and why we gather. Yeah. Because if it's simply for me to get fed, to get the thing that I want, to get my jelly-filled donut, to get my coffee, to go and talk about the things that go on in my life, the travel mercies as I go to Florida or go to on vacation.
Got to protect my things.
Yeah, that's what it is. And it's just this cultural thing of, well, this is kind of what we do. And then as soon as any kind of pressure is put on, right, we do something, we make a choice that says, we realize that this is what's going to be most effective, right? In doing something. Regard of effectiveness.
Yes, you may hate mass, you may love it. That's not the point.
Yes.
The point is that if something this minuscule gets in the way of your faith, we have a problem not with the mass, with your faith. Because what that's saying is, right, we haven't got to the place in Romans where suffering produces perseverance, and perseverance produces character, and character produces a hope that doesn't disappoint. Right? We got to talk about what Christian liberty means. Right? In a place in India where the government literally is trying to shut down Christian churches, and he says, you know what? I can still do it despite the pressure. And the pressure produces this beautiful diamond of faith. And in America, we're like, man, we got this flabby faith that's never been tested, never really put under pressure. And when it does, we're like, oh no, don't change my normal. Don't change my normal. And if you change my normal, it's not church.
Yep.
Well, guess what? It's not, this kind of stuff may go on forever from now on.
Who knows? Because
it's gone on forever all around the world. Every century has faced some form of persecution, but I'll tell you what, this in the scheme of things is not persecution.
No, it's not.
This in the scheme of things is not your faith under attack. And if you think it is, you need to go around the world and look at that 1040 window and what Christians are putting up. The Coptic Christians in Egypt who go into church, they're scared they're going to get blown up, and you know what they do? They go
anyway, and they step up to the plate, right, for lack of better terminology, and they say, this is so important to me that nothing's going to come between me and doing this, because I believe that in the congregation of the saints, that in the gathering together and the worshiping of people, nothing can come between me and that.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to stop me from doing it. Whether you're having to do it 6 feet apart, whether you're having to do it in the back room of a house in darkness where no one can see it, where you have one Bible because someone had to smuggle it into your country.
Yeah.
How many Bibles are sitting on your shelves collecting dust right now?
Yeah.
My wife and I own like 15 Bibles collectively.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here going, well,
that's what you call biblical gluttony.
Yes.
But yeah, that's the thing. In China, how many people don't even have a Bible, but they're pulling in verses that they pass around from village to village.
Yeah.
From city to city, from small group to small group.
This really should be a reality check for us.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. The temptation is to get very small and to just look at my world, to look at the things in my life and my radius.
Yeah.
When you pull back and you get perspective that the gospel is for all people, that more than likely God is working in other parts of the country, in other parts of the world more than he is here, and he's having movements in other nations and other countries with people who don't look like us, who don't think like us, who don't believe the exact same tenets as we do, but they still believe in our Savior Jesus Christ. That God is moving in that, and then we go, well, this is so hard.
Yeah.
It's first world problems. Remember when that was a trendy thing on the internet? That's exactly what it is.
Like, my Panda Express closed too early.
Yes.
Yeah. Here's what I would say. We oftentimes look at this as the worst thing that's ever happened, right? I can't believe we have to go through this, and God, where are you? But if you read Scripture, you're going to find oftentimes God allows things like this to happen, and instantly it's a revelation of where we are spiritually.
Yeah.
Right? He allows the Babylonians to come in, or the Assyrians earlier to come in, and guess what? It reveals where your heart is. So if your first response to the pandemic as you look back to going to normal has been, I can't wait for normal, and God, I can't wait to get back, or hey, I'm never going back, you've missed it. Yeah. And you've missed it because you think it's about God doing something for you, when in reality it's God wanting to do something through you. And if you don't let God do something through you, you've missed 90% of the point. You can be saved, right? I'm not saying you're not saved, but salvation is a moment. Sanctification is a lifetime.
Yeah. And we participate in that sanctification.
Right. Think about this. The God of the universe who loves us, right, who created us in his image, allows you to be part of reaching the world with a message of love, with a message of resurrection, with a message of transformation. Now, and if you say, no, don't you dare infringe on me, there's more of you than Jesus.
Yeah.
And again, I don't love Mass. I'm not invested in Mass. I'm not getting rich off Mass.
No.
I don't like to cover this beard, man. I've been working on it. I got my own mask.
Yeah, mine's real patchy.
Yeah, yours is.
So
put this on, my friend.
Well, here's something. While Stephen was talking, that I had a thought of. We're so quick to rush to normal that we don't even think about what normal was producing.
Yeah.
Right. So, a system. This is a business principle. A system is perfectly designed to create the outcomes it creates. And so the system of normal that was pre-pandemic, that was pre-COVID, that was pre-whatever, it was creating busyness, anxiety, it was creating separation and loneliness, it was creating brokenness, right, left, and center.
Right, the church looked like the world.
Yes. All of the stats, right?
Yeah.
Divorce rate's the same.
Close.
Yeah, divorce rate's closer to the same. And then you have Men viewing pornography, same.
Yeah.
All across the board, all of these different things, all these different markers that were supposed to be lines of demarcation.
Right.
And then what ends up happening is we say we want to go back to normal. Well, that old system wasn't working.
Yeah.
So it's on us to do what we have to do to change and to survive.
Well, and to go back to your fundamental question, really, that's implicit in that paradigm, leadership paradigm, is we have to go back and ask the question, what did Jesus want to be our outcomes?
Yeah.
And then what is the system working backwards that produces those outcomes?
Yeah.
Well, if he wanted discipleship, me to look more like Jesus, the more and more I live in this world, the more I look like Jesus rather than look like the world. John talks about it, right? Do I look like light or darkness? The world or Christ?
Yeah.
You know? And so we want discipleship. Why do you think Jesus calls us to be sacrificial? Because that's agape love, folks.
Yeah.
Why do you think he asks us to serve others?
Yeah.
Because by our good works, we're glorifying our Father in heaven.
Yeah.
So all of these things, those are meant to be the outcomes. And so if our church experience as normal doesn't produce service and agape love and discipleship and truth, then it's time to say, thank God for this moment to reset. And because we need a reality check. That's what I wrote down here, reality check. I needed it. Aaron needed it.
Yeah.
The church in America, we need this.
Yeah.
I went to sermon voice there, man.
I know, and that's
But
the
because
thing
I'm passionate about this.
Yeah,
it's
because
like,
here's the thing, right?
so broken.
2 local pastors sitting in front of a bookshelf. These are the waters that we've been swimming in for the past 13 months, 14 months. And in all honesty, what we're trying to do is we're trying to do the best that we can to honor Christ, to honor the body that calls Walnut Grove Christian Church home.
Yeah.
And we're trying to do the best that we can to figure out something that no one who we know has ever been through, a global pandemic. And what's interesting is that in the midst of those things, a lot of the things that we wish would have, the fruit that would have come out of this, right? The reality check of changing what normal was and that longing for that normal instead of asking for transformation and saying, oh, that was actually a sickness in my life.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff never came to fruition. That reality check never came in and it never hit. And so that's why we get passionate about it. That's why I feel soapboxes, because it's something that we wrestle with on the daily. We wrestle with every Sunday morning as there's people who we love and care about who are making a choice, who are saying, this is not as important as this. This is, right? Like, my choice on this, my view on this is not as important as gathering together.
Yeah.
And that hurts. It really does.
And I mean, when some of the people out there who are saying, you know what, if we're not going to have like the breakfast time like we're used to, and they pick donuts over the divine relationship, lived in community like Christ calls us to, think about how that breaks your heart. That should break your heart.
Yes.
And I want to be clear, man, I know Aaron's heart. Hopefully you can hear we love the local church.
Yeah.
When we've devoted our working years to, and lives really, to the church.
Yes.
I love the church. And I love the people who make up the church. But just like a parent loves their kid, they have expectations for them and desires for them and hopes for them.
Yes.
And our Father has expectations, hopes, desires for us. And us as pastors trying to shepherd the flock, we want to lead you to calm waters, green pastures. But the reality is, until we rethink this and get a reality check that, man, life's not so hard here. And in the midst of this, God has opened up opportunities for us to proclaim the good news. You're missing it. And I don't want you to miss it because I care about you. If you're listening to this, I care about you. Even if I don't know you, I love you.
Yeah. And so we want to challenge today.
Yeah.
We want to send out a challenge. We want to throw out that challenge flag and say, all right, where is your stick in the sand? What is the thing that we need to address? What are the things that I need to wrestle with? What are the things that maybe I've taken for granted?
Yeah.
And what are the things that what are the things that are important, right? Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and the rest will be given to you.
Yeah.
And that's our heart, is seeking his kingdom first. And so that's kind of what we're about here with Walnut Grove Cultural Conversations. That's what we're about here at Walnut Grove. And
I'd like you to answer the question, like, I would worship, but. Right? And if you have a but there, right? It's like a Sir Mix-a-Lot song, right? Sir Mix-a-Lot,
oh, gosh.
right?
Yes.
Right? If you have a but there, it shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But I want you to answer that question. What is the thing you say? I would worship, but you know what? It's not convenient. Or hey, they're wearing masks. Or hey, they're not. Like, what is the thing?
Or I have something else going on.
I have something else. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, there's no shortage of
Yes.
travel sports hitting back up
Yes.
again. And what is that thing? And then ask yourself the question: which one's more important? And you may say, no, it's a lot more important for me to wash my car than Christ. And then we can have an honest conversation about where your faith's at and where your beliefs, and we'd love to have that conversation.
Yes. That's a conversation
Man,
you can have.
we would love to have that conversation about how important should Christ be, but you have to be honest with yourself. How important is he now? Or say I would worship, but it's not normal, and then ask yourself which one's more important: serving Christ no matter what, or normalcy. And I'd love, man. Maybe if you're honest, just private message. What's your but answer?
Yeah. And then we can open that conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what it really should be, is a conversation. So we say this all with love and with care and compassion, and hopefully that comes across, that it shows our heart.
Yeah.
And with that being said, we will see you guys next week on another edition of Walnut Grove Cultural Conversations. Cheers.
Cheers.